stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's Voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. Slick does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love, what even is that? Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom can't be beat. America's Voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, LFS6B. Big D looking good in his cowboy hat, always intrigued what David Sears at. Our main man Harry is certainly no slouch.
Harry,
come on, Harry,
get fat ass out of the couch.
America's Voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Ooh yeah, LFS6B. If you want some fun along with good insight, tune in 8 to 10 weeknights. Plenty of merchandise to be had. The odds makers reveal whose picks are bad. Hello, America's Voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B.
All right. Morning. Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Real Prince style. I'm not a fan. How's everybody doing this morning? Morning, Joyce on Facebook. Good morning. Mark. Good morning from Las Vegas. You guys had quite the night there. Morning, Bill. Cats B on YouTube. Hello, everybody on Facebook, YouTube, X, Getter, Rumble. When is Rogan? Rogan is today at some point. I have no idea when. I haven't really looked around to see if there's any way to. I think there's press that's actually flying with him. I don't know. We'll look around a little bit here this morning while we're live. See if we can if we're going to get any clips of it or if there's anybody following him. Good morning, everybody on Facebook, X. They're going by so fast. Virginia, good morning on Facebook. Huey, good morning on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Trump coming to State College tomorrow. Yep. Can you feel the momentum, Big D? I feel momentum. Cautiously optimistic, just like I've said all along. Trying not to get ahead of my, ass over tea kettle, skis, over my skis on everything, because we know who we're up against. Rogan on Patrick's show now. Okay, I don't know what that means, but morning, Katie. Morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Did you hear what Kevin Downey Jr. just said about Lizzo being paid to appear at Kamala's rally? No, I didn't, but it wouldn't surprise me. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kamala's day again, and I guess you can read into this what you want, but her schedule. I mean, again, Trump says it, and if you're 11, 10, 9 days, whatever the hell it is now, 9, 8, 10 days away from the prize of the presidency, how could you start I think she starts her day today. The first thing she has is like 4 or 5 o'clock. Something like that. She's doing a big rally with Willie Nelson, Beyonce, and a bunch of other Hollywood losers. She's doing it at 9:30 on a Friday night. 9:30 up against game 1 of the World Series. Like, if you sat down in a room with your team 11 days out and said, okay, how do we make sure the least number of people see us? Which maybe that's their strategy at this point because of how awful she is. You would pick 9:30 on a Friday night against game 1 of the World Series. That's when she's doing her big event today. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But again, you know, the way we see things is not the way everybody sees things. And I did see this. I saw an article, I forget where it was, but said, you know, the author basically, the point was, I'm going to zig while everybody else is zagging, or I'm going to zag while everybody else is zigging, and said, no matter what you think of her and what you think of what the polls say right now, remember, she will probably in the end get more votes to hold the office of the presidency than anyone in history. Because because even though we think she's a bumbling idiot, she excites a lot of progressive, the base of this wackadoo party. And there's millions of them. So I'm trying to look at both sides to try to keep an open mind to go into a week from Tuesday, not just walking in there and thinking this thing's in the bag. I just don't think we can ever go in and think it's in the bag, given what we know they do. So I see some things that concern me, you know, but I give those the same amount of weight as I give the things that make me go, oh yeah, he's going to win 48 states, 47 states. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of where I'm at. Well, maybe you can make an exception since it's about this show, or maybe that's how you feel about the show too. I'm not sure. Not exciting. The question of the year. It is a good one. It is a good one, which I wish I had a better answer for. My answer is maybe. I mean, this is, you know, my idea of a fun night is not coming on camera for 5 seconds every 10 minutes and going, okay, that was this. Here comes here. Go back to the stage. No, not really what I want to do, but, you know, it's kind of part of what comes along with following this into, you know, once every 4 years, this is what it's going to be as we try to cover every event. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have 47 reads when we have our first full show back, which I don't even know if I'm going to remember how to do 2 full hours without throwing to something, interviewing somebody, watching something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could do like a late night UFO show, maybe. Yeah, well, you know, we don't have much say in it. It kind of is what it is. So, do we have a show tonight? Most likely, probably not. I mean, you'll see us. We'll be there. But Trump Talks tonight, I believe, scheduled 7:30. Usually that means 8 o'clock, which means 8 to basically 10. I mean, he's gone 2 hours. He's broadened out his speech. So I would say mostly tonight will be maybe we, if he's, depending how late he is, we might get on at 8. And then most of the 2 hours will be watching Trump's speech again. And then we'll close it out. That would be what I suspect tonight will be. And if I'm being honest, that's what I suspect most of next week's going to be. I don't think you'll see a full show from us or something you can count on until obviously the day after the election. And that's just nothing we can do about it. It just is what it is. Unless he doesn't do a night event. I mean, that's really the only thing. That's really the only way we would have a show is if he doesn't do something at night, which I don't suspect he's going to. I suspect he'll have multiple things on the calendar between the two of them. He's also going up against the World Series. Well, I guess tonight a little bit, but I mean, he starts at 7:30. I think the World Series game first pitch is what, 8 something. So I mean, maybe he goes up against it for about 20 minutes. But of course, he's kind of forced to do something at night because he's got a full day. He's doing Rogan, he's doing something else. Then he's going to go do this rally. She's doing nothing. She's doing nothing till like 4 or 5 o'clock. And then she's going to go do this thing at 9:30 on a Friday night. Not 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, not top of the hour, 9:30. So just a crazy schedule. And I mean, last couple of days we haven't even seen her. She took the day off to get ready for Haley Bieber there, or Haley whatever the hell her name is, Haley Jackson. Then she did the CNN town hall. How about the left's treatment of Anderson Cooper now? The word I used the next morning was brutalized her, and I didn't mean like he actually set out to do that. It just came across that way because she's so incompetent in answering pretty basic questions that you would expect if you were running for president, and then some soft follow-ups, which is exactly what Anderson Cooper did. He asked basic questions, and he had some soft follow-ups. Like, why didn't you do this? And she gives some ridiculous answer, and he goes, yeah, but you could have done both at the same time. Oh, you couldn't have done both at the same time? Well, why didn't you do it in 2 years? I mean, those are soft follow-ups. And the treatment he's getting now, you think he's working at Fox from the left. Well, they're done with him. Done with him. A couple things. We'll take a look at the markets. Markets obviously here about 42 minutes into the trading day. Dow Jones up 193, a little under 0.5%. S&P up 44, little under 1%. NASDAQ up 1.2%, 18,647. The 10 years down to 419. Gold 27.43. 27.43 for gold. I remember reading Birch Gold commercials talking about gold and talking about the chart. And just from a charting perspective, the gold was set up for a run. It was like 1,700. It's up $1,000 since that. Man, if you made the move there, you've been doing good. Bitcoin up a little bit, 68,405. That's been a nice rebound from the drop. It dropped down to about 65.9, 65.8 again. It's rebounded nicely. Yeah, so that's just a quick look at your markets. I want to go over here. A couple things we'll get to right away.
Trump may find
CNN's in freak out mode along with everybody else.
Trump may finally get his great white whale. Harris versus Trump national march. And you mentioned that New York Times poll, a tie. That's actually right in the middle of the spectrum when we're talking about recent polling data. You don't have to look very far to find Donald Trump ahead nationally. He was up by 2 points in the CNBC poll, up by 3 in the Wall Street Journal poll, very close races within the margin of error. But then the same thing on the other side, right? You have Harris up by 3 points according to Ipsos. The Say 24 YouGov poll, it's a bunch of academics, also has Harris up by 3. But the bottom line is, with the popular vote, which we really haven't focused upon, a very, very tight race, John. Fact is, Donald Trump is very much in a position he could win the popular vote, which of course is something he would absolutely love to do.
And would be something very different than we have seen compared to last time and the polling compared to last time.
Exactly right. So I went back through the time machine, all right? I went back through the time machine to see where were the past 2 races at this point in the campaign. Look, Harris in the average poll right now is up by 1, well within the margin of error. You go back 4 years ago, Joe Biden was well ahead of Donald Trump in the national popular vote polls. He was up by 9. Even Hillary Clinton was up by 6 points. So now Donald Trump's in a position he really hasn't been before at this point in the campaign, where he could truly compete, and we can truly say that the popular vote at this point is way too close to call. Of course, this is only going back 8 years. I wanted to jump even further back in my time machine to get an understanding. Hey, I haven't heard about a Republican potentially winning the popular vote in a while. And it turns out a Republican winning the popular vote, it hasn't happened since 2004 in George W. Bush defeating John Kerry. And that's only the one time that it has happened. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 1988 to find another one, when it was George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, winning the popular vote over Michael Dukakis. So the fact that the polls right now are so close, John, the fact that Donald Trump has a legitimate shot of winning the popular vote is something I think a lot of folks, including in my line of work, really didn't think could possibly happen when Donald Trump was running last time around. He could make history, not just for Donald Trump, for a Republican candidate as well.
Now, there are some reasons for this, and I think Democrats' heads are all exploding out there watching this right now. There are some reasons for this, which you're going to explain, but also begin to raise the possibility that we could see the reverse. We could see the reverse of things we've seen, where a Republican wins the popular vote, but there's a chance for the Democrat to win the Electoral College.
Yeah, part of my job is to warn our viewers on either side of the aisle of an event that may occur that they don't necessarily like, and Donald Trump winning the popular vote could absolutely happen. You might as well wrap your minds around it now, folks, if you don't like Donald Trump. But on the flip side of that, a potentially good sign for Democrats is, why is Donald Trump doing so well in the popular vote polls? You can dig down into the state level polling, and you can see that Donald Trump is doing particularly well in California, Florida, New York, and Texas. Of course, none of these states are really on the board at this point, so Donald Trump may end up gaining in the national popular vote polls, but actually is wasting votes, which could in fact lead to a case where Kamala Harris could sneak by in the Electoral College by sweeping those Great Lake battleground states, which at this point are way too close to call, John.
That's right. It'd be interesting to see then if all that talk about Electoral College reform takes on a bit of a new light.
It may. In 2000, remember, folks thought that Al Gore would win the Electoral College and losing the popular vote. It turns out they were all wrong.
All right. There you have it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about some of that, but the left losing their minds over some of these polls for sure is correct. So here's Anderson Cooper in response to him asking Kamala Harris in this town hall, which she sounded like an idiot most of the questions. I mean, the question to her about what are your strengths or weaknesses and how would you overcome them, and she says, well, I may not have an answer the moment you ask me. I mean, when you think about that in relation to the presidency, that should immediately be a disqualifying answer. If you can't think on your feet quick enough to be able to deal in life or death decision making, which the president does pretty much on a daily, weekly basis, things we don't even know about, we'll never know about, decisions they have to make. I don't think the answer that most people, somebody walks in the Oval and says, madam or sir, we have, and then whatever it is, they don't want to hear, all right, well, I got to go research it. I'm going to have to go look at it because I want to know what to say, so I'll get back to you. What? I have to research it? I may not have the answer right away? I mean, that alone, no thanks. But here's Anderson Cooper on how the left has responded to that town hall.
This country where, you know what, I got so many, I don't look at comments about myself, but I was looking up some comments about my grief podcast, and I came across this whole inundation from people who are Harris supporters saying to me online today, like, How dare you? What a betrayal that you would ask her these questions.
No,
and
you
I'm
did your
like,
job.
you misunderstand what my job is. I'm not on MSNBC, and no disrespect. What they do is they're very talented, but I don't watch it. I'm not interested in watching what these overpaid blow-dried anchors think, and I include myself in that overpaid blow-dried, although I don't blow-dry. I am overpaid, but I don't want. I'm not interested in the anchor's opinion. I'm interested in facts and letting the viewers make up their own mind. So anyway, I'm sorry this devolved into something else. But this is fascinating.
So taking a little abuse, Anderson is, and he's not too happy about it. New York Post today, by the way, endorses Trump. No surprise there. The choice is clear to put the nation on the right path, back to the future. Anderson says, I'm not on MSNBC. Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. And then he says, oh, no, but they're very talented. You know Anderson's lying when he opens his mouth. Yeah, well, maybe not that time. Maybe once in a while. I'm seeing these numbers as well. I've been reading the stories as well. Wall Street Journal today. Harris struggles to distinguish candidacy from Biden. I mean, 10 days out, I think at this point, if you haven't been able to do it, you're not going to do it. And the reason you can't do it, by the way, and haven't been able to do it, is there is no distinguishing factors that separate you from Biden. If anything, Biden is to the right of you. Biden, this version of Biden, even this version of Biden, which he's trying to out-progressive the progressives, is to the right of you. Everybody knows it. So there is no way. The idea that this was the horse that they were going to try to ride after they dumped Grandpa at the dog track, and they act surprised that she doesn't appeal to black voters, she doesn't appeal to men, she barely appeals to women, at least women who have any common sense. She can't answer questions. She's not quick on her feet. She sounds like a dunce most of the time. She can't give straight answers. You don't know where she stands. Most of the American people, I go back to that New York Times Siena poll, which, by the way, that poll this morning has them tied. It had her up. Had her up a couple. But remember when it came out and it was 48-46 her, they thought, holy cow, this is closer than we thought. And if you look deeper into that article, people in the country said, well, we feel like we got to know more about her. We don't know where she stands. We have no idea what her policies are. So they still seem surprised to this day that she hasn't been able to articulate them. She seems surprised every time she gets asked a question. Like, how can you not? I said this yesterday. How can you not expect some of the questions you're getting if you're running for the presidency? These are not hard questions. She always seems stumped. She always looks like a deer in the headlights when the question is asked. Damon, she does not appeal to women with common sense. Yeah, isn't that what I said? If I didn't, that's what I meant. Thank you for the clarification. So I just kind of chuckle when I see these articles. Even as she tried to present herself with this whole joy. The joy has been gone for a long time. The joy has been gone for a long, long time. Again, the whole turn the page. Brett Baer was right. Turn the page on what? You're the one who's been there. What are we turning? We're turning the page. Yeah, we're right. We're turning it on you and Pop. That's what we're turning the page on. So I just chuckle when I see these articles with these headlines. Oh, she's struggling to separate herself from Biden. Well, no kidding. She has zero chance to separate herself from Biden. That has never changed. 54% of majority of voters say she would largely continue Biden's approach and policies, while 41% said she would bring her own fresh ideas and new leadership to the White House. Well, those 41%, what does that mean? What fresh? Have you heard fresh ideas from her on the campaign trail? Like if I said, list the top 3 fresh ideas that Kamala Harris has hammered home in the time she's been awarded the nomination for to be president for her party. What are the 3 fresh, quote unquote, fresh ideas that she's brought to the table and barnstormed the country talking about that's going to make your life better? Which ones? Which ones? I mean, I know what she's flip-flopped on that she wants to make it sound like right, like yesterday. Oh, I'll never let America have a border that's unsecure. Okay. That's a good one. Oh, no, I support fracking. Oh, really? Okay. That's a good one. So I know she's saying things that make her, but those are just all flip-flops. Those are nothing new. What's the new fresh ideas? 41% say fresh ideas. Where have you heard that? I haven't heard one fresh idea. The only fresh idea she had, she stole from Trump. I mean, that's it. Fresh ideas. 41% said she would bring fresh ideas. Well, when is she going to tell us about these? After she loses? The image of Harris as staying on Biden's course was even more prevalent among the small portion of voters considered persuadable and still available by either campaign. I mean, how big is that number? I mean, are there that many people out there that are persuadable? How can you be persuadable when the choice is so absolutely damn clear? You want a country or not? For your kids, for your grandkids? Do you want a country that even resembles the country that we grew up in? That holds the ideals that it did when we grew up in? What do you mean you're persuadable? What the hell could persuade you to vote for her? Are you that gullible to listen to her and think that, oh, maybe she's going to change? Oh, maybe she'll be different than Biden? Oh, yeah, maybe she'll be, what? What do you... When somebody shows you what's the old Maya Angelou thing? When someone shows you who they are, believe them? I mean, we've seen this woman in public office for a very long time. We've seen her as a senator on these committees questioning Brett Kavanaugh. We've seen where she is, where she positions herself, what she feels, what she believes in. And she's still right in your face about it. Supreme Court, filibuster. Those things lead to not good outcomes for you, the citizen. So I don't know how you can be persuadable still. By about a 3-1 margin, more in that group saw Harris as akin to Biden than as charting a new path. Yeah, because you couldn't outline any path that she's told you she could chart. She can't chart a path to nothing but destruction. Asked which candidate would bring about needed change, the Nation survey found 49% naming Trump and 40% picking Harris. And this is what I talked about before. The 40 is just the radical base of the party that she excites because they see Biden trying to be the most progressive, and now they figure she can out-progressive him. He tried to out-progressive Obama and everybody else. It's like, how radically left can they move? So I just chuckle when I see these headlines. Like, are we supposed to, people supposed to read this and be like, oh yeah, wow, is she struggling? No shit, Sherlock, she's struggling. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah, exactly right. Wish I could remember where that article was. The Zigzag article about, don't get caught up in this. We're just going to waltz. We're just going to run to a blowout victory here. If it happens, great. But because the basic premise of the article was that she's going to get probably more votes than any other person in history on the popular vote side. to be president. And she does excite a lot of, we can't live in a bubble. Understand that she does excite millions and millions and millions of people that are going to vote for her. The question is it going to be enough? You look at what Trump lost in 2020. Right now, he's on pace, according to everything you look at, to blow a huge, if not win all three, blow a huge hole in the blue wall. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, he has a chance to win all three, in my estimation. Should be very well positioned in Pennsylvania. Michigan and Wisconsin, we'll see. He's only got to win one. Could be an early night if he wins Virginia. If he wins places like Nevada. Man, the grief I get on that. Nevada. So there's a lot of ways it could be not as stressful a night a week from Tuesday as some of us think it could be. Let's see. The Post, obviously, I told you the Post endorsed Trump. Back to the Future. The Post endorses Trump for president, the clear choice for a better future. The choice of this election will have reverberations for decades, deciding which of the two very different paths for the future Americans will take. And isn't that the truth? Let me see here. No audio, huh? Wait a while, 1 second here, 1 second. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, I think we got it now. So on the morning meeting this morning, they had a panel, and they got into the whole John Kelly story and the closing argument that Kamala seems to be using, which is the Trump is Hitler deal. Hillary Clinton on MSNBC. Oh, look out for this Madison Square Garden thing. This is a remake of Hitler in 1939, don't you know? This is very dangerous. So they got into that this morning, and they talked to voters. Very interesting. Take a listen.
One of the three Harris messages to close is Donald Trump's unstable, and he's a threat to democracy, and he's a fascist. Okay. Reporting today, I saw in a paper, I don't remember which one, the campaign says they focus group this, and it's a very effective message to hear Republicans talking about this and to have it be echoed. Last night, some of you have already seen this, we did a focus group with undecided Pennsylvania voters, and I asked them what they thought of this message of Kamala Harris, is that Donald Trump is a fascist. Again, these are undecided voters in Pennsylvania. Please roll 105. Okay. In the last few days, the vice president has started to talk about Donald Trump as a fascist, as someone who's spoken approvingly of Hitler. Raise your hand if you've heard about those comments. Okay. What do folks think? Is that something that's persuasive to you? Is that something that you'll factor into your vote? Linda?
To me, it's horrible that she's saying that about him. If he was saying that about her, everybody would be up in arms. I just don't think that's right.
What other folks think about what the vice president's saying, based on accounts of people who've worked with the President Trump. What do folks think about her making those charges and those characterizations?
She obviously thinks it's going to help her. I don't think it does at all. I don't know why, if it was Kelly who heard the president say that, I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I don't think he'd lie. I think you said that, Mark, on an episode. But I think that he had a responsibility to resign the day that was said, if that's true. I don't think that's the case.
I can't. I think part of the reason why I'm being pushed towards Trump so strongly is that I find that the Democrats and the left just keep going straight to Hitler all of the time with everything. Like it, and if it's not the left pushing Hitler, it's the right pushing Stalin. So it's like we're fighting World War II every single day for every single election. So it's so exhausting. I think it just detracts from, it pushes me away from their position, and it's so hyperbolic that it makes it impossible to have good discussions, and I think it ruins the discourse.
Does anybody think it's valuable or something you want to hear from the vice president? Anybody? Raise your hand if you think this is something that's important for her to be talking about. Anybody?
Bueller.
Okay.
Bueller.
Bueller? Okay.
Wow.
That's one focus group. Okay, guys, it's one focus group, and it's a focus group. It's not a poll. But I will say this. You will look in vain, I believe, for anything in the media that tells you how do voters feel about this argument. Okay, I just haven't seen it anywhere else. So whose view of this argument would you most like to hear right now? I would argue undecided voters in Pennsylvania. Now, before anybody goes nuts about the group, you'll watch the whole group if you want. It's online. They're mixed. Some of them have voted for Democrats for president. Some of them clearly are more Republican, but they are undecided voters. So whether you want to criticize the group because some have voted for Trump in the past and some are leaning his way, maybe, you're welcome to do that. But they're all undecided voters in Pennsylvania, and you saw how they reacted to the message. Sean.
Yeah. Before we get to what Sean says, I mean, it just doesn't work. We've heard this for so long. Trump's going to be this. Trump's going to be that. Well, he was president for 4 years. He followed the Constitution. We all made it through. Biden's been president now. Will be for 4 years. There's no dictator. There's no not leaving. There's no transfer of power. All this nonsense they continue to use. No, and what's laughable about it is they're the party that wants to get rid of all the firewalls that the founders of the country built in. They're the ones who want to target the Supreme Court. They're the ones who want to target the filibuster. They're the ones who want to target the Electoral College. They're the ones that want to seize control of what you can build your house out of, what car you can drive, what you can put in your car, what you can use to be, what kind of refrigerator you can put in your house, what your car standards have to be. They're the ones who want control of everything. Kamala Harris in one breath says, oh, Donald Trump's a fascist. Do you believe he's a fascist? Oh, yes. And then after she says that, she says, and I want to make sure that I can control the grocery prices industry. I want to make sure I can control this. I want to make sure I can control that. Really? Okay. Who's the fascist here? Who are the ones trying to get rid of all the firewalls, all the checks and balances in a constitutional republic that we live in, by the way, not a democracy? God, it's so annoying to continue to hear that. But it never, I mean, it's just so laughable to hear from about Donald Trump being this or that. From people who despise American constitutionalism, who despise the firewalls that we have in place. And they say he's going to be the dictator. He's going to be the fascist. Meanwhile, they're the ones. And I swear this is why they continue to say just the thing that comes out of their brains: democracy, democracy, save democracy, democracy. Their whole deal is to advance democracy at the expense of truly what our founders set this in motion for, which was liberty, and individual liberty, individualism. So that's when you hear them say democracy, democracy, democracy. They want to advance democracy at the expense of what we're trying to advance, which is liberty. That's the way the founders set this country up. They specifically set up the role of American government was to protect the rights of the individual. And they knew that the biggest threat to the individual and to individual liberty was the government itself. That's why they designed a government with constitutionally limited powers. They're the party that wants to get rid of that, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump followed the Constitution for 4 years. They're the ones who don't want to be constrained, not Donald Trump. They're the ones, they wrap themselves in the Constitution when they can. They don't want to be confined by it. They want to eliminate all constraints that they and their party have that the Constitution sets out. Our founders wanted just the opposite. So when you look at what the Democrats push, the fundamental principle that they push, that they want to live by, we've gone from protecting individual liberty, which is what most conservatives and Republicans push for, to basically what they want to do is just carry out the will of the people, the groupthink. And that's their democratic decision-making process. They don't want all the other stuff. They attack it. The founders had no intention of creating a democracy. That's the bottom line. Boom, 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 boom. Penny says, totally agree. When I hear, I scream. We need a shirt that says, let me educate you. The U.S. is a constitutional republic. All right, so let's get back to Sean Spicer's reaction to that group.
First of all, thank you for doing that. This is why I think the platform is so great, because we can come with preconceived notions about what messages work and don't, and then you see it and you go, wow. I thought it was fascinating. The first thing that jumped out at me is whether the message was better from her or from surrogates, right? If you're concerned about what Trump officials said, get them to say it, right? So and I know General Kelly won't, he's made it clear he's not going to publicly appear, or at least he said that so far. But some of these other folks, I think you could get. And if I were Harris, I thought one of the things she said well at the town hall the other day was, don't listen to me, listen to them, like take their words. And they should, again, I always hate saying this, that's how you could be more effective. Say, tonight, I want to hear from, fill in the blank person. But I also think how those respondents communicated what they felt about this, which is, I don't buy it, or I think this is demeaning or dehumanizing, then move, pivot. But you better go back in real quick and refocus group what is working, because
because that's not, clearly. And that's the point. That is not working. So, a couple other things before we wrap it up and get to some of your questions, if you have any. Wall Street Journal opinion by James Johnson and Callum Hunter today. Expect the GOP to win big in the Senate. The party's secret weapon, Trump voters who have no idea who the candidates for the upper chamber are. You know, when you go to these poly markets and these prediction markets, still the overwhelming favorite when you look at the things they offer is for the Republicans to sweep all three: the Senate, the House, and the presidency. I don't think I've shared this on our X. Let's do it now. Okay, that's shared. All the articles I've covered this morning are shared. If you're going to spend any time today, this is one of the best things I've read in a long time. It took me a second to realize it because I thought at first I was like, wait, what is this guy saying? This is called The End of Politics by Douglas Schwartz. He says there's a growing awareness the GOP will sweep the White House, Senate, and the House. In the larger context, a constitutional reformation destined to long endure is imminent. You know, we've been talking about how Trump wins 4 years is not going to be enough for anybody to get rid of the damage. And I've been thinking about it in that context. And of course, back before we knew J.D. Vance was his pick, we said, you know, when we were talking about would he go DeSantis, we always talked about, well, you got to pick somebody that can be 4 years Trump and then 8 years of somebody, and maybe in 12 years, we can get the country to start to look like. But Douglas Schwartz takes a look that, I don't want to say he says it doesn't matter who the VP is. I don't think he's saying that. But what he's saying is the moment is here right now for us to really make the future a hell of a lot different looking than it looked over the last 3.5 years. And no, we don't have to wait. It's right here in front of us now to make it. If you want to make this decision, if what we're seeing comes through, the change is now. It's not going to be 4, 8, 12 years. The change will happen right now. He says, first, some electoral observations. West Virginia and Montana Senate seats were going to flip red, so they're going to capture the Senate. The GOP's Senate chances in Arizona and Pennsylvania also look promising. It's inarguable that Trump will win every state he collected in 2020. He will likely add 5 he won in 2016, but lost with big quotation marks in 2020. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, perhaps Virginia, New Mexico, and even some blue states possibly in play. Trump's blue state rallies, New York, New Jersey, reveal his internal polling. His praise of New York City Mayor Adams during the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner was a pitch for Adams' supporters' votes. Was Trump dangling a pardon? The New York Times even admitted at least half the dais looked profoundly depressed when he said, "I'm going to win," but there is nothing they and all their money and their power and their media mastery can do about it. This is what thrills his supporters. He can show up to these places and offend these people who are powerless to stop him and, by extension, stop them. Translation: a lengthy political revolution against oligarchic control is concluding, destined to endure for decades. The pained look on former Mayor Bloomberg's face was priceless. The Senti billionaire, gun control, and jumbo soda scold torched $670 million in his 2020 presidential quest without acquiring any delegates. Kamala's joy has fermented into despair. Kamala's self-destruction tour produced Biden's desired payback for the Democrats' bus running over him. Her campaign degenerated into a classic churn and burn operation. YouTube viewers are incessantly assaulted by the fundraising pleas from Kamala, Obama, or Twinkle Toes Timmy. Just $5 is all it takes, we keep hearing. Her robust spending has mostly acquired more money, but not votes. They solicit tiny contributions when massive millions appear from overseas to collect names of unwitting straw donors. Readers here are probably tagged by YouTube as right-wingers, yet we are served the same Democrat fundraising ads as everybody else. Strategic ad targeting is non-existent, underscoring the reality. The more Kamala spends, the worse the results. A campaign devoid of substance became obsessed with fundraising, neglecting positive pursuits. Her campaign self-destruction began with the VP selection. Not only is Timmy a commie, stolen valor, the bookend to Kamala McDonald's stolen valor, weirdo, but he possesses an apparent attraction for young boys. Even Hillary never dreamed the NAMBLA vote was attainable. Several obvious predictions. Democrat congressional retirements will ensue upon loss of Senate control. Increasing Republicans' lock on Congress and initiating decades-long one-party rule. Any Trump second-term Supreme Court vacancies extends Republicans' dominance into the future. A constitutional reformation is coming. A convention of states or constitutional amendments passed by the traditional congressional route will accomplish the former. Trump's unilateral actions can accomplish the de facto component. The principal objective must be neutering congressional power. Consider the tax code, an abysmal morass of pandering to special interests in exchange for campaign contributions, a shakedown. Repealing the 16th Amendment income tax might be imminent. Trump floated this idea yesterday. With proposals to eliminate taxing tips, overtime, etc., Trump is already halfway there. Congressional funding of gratuitous wars and accumulating trillions in debt, which can never be repaid, is over. The larger picture must be grasped. Democracies are finite. They normally destruct in inflationary blow-offs accompanied by other manifestations of pandering to mob rule, including repression. The founders anticipated this in choosing a republic. Their republic degenerated into a democracy, a term they abhorred, controlled by political parties fronting for oligarchs. Having endured legalized tyrannies inflicted by a late-stage democracy, we now comprehend their insight. Democracies require political parties, which in turn destroy democracies. Trump must destroy the Democrat Party, then destroy the current GOP. So this is a very in-depth and very good article. I implore you, if you want to read one thing today, to read this. It's entitled The End of Politics by Douglas Schwartz. I have shared it on our X. And he takes a pretty strong view of how important it is, and if Trump wins, and if the Republicans were to sweep all three, that this is really the time to change the future of this country. So check that out for sure. But I don't have time. I won't have time, I know, to cover this on the show tonight. So over at the American Thinker, it is shared on our X as well. More fear coming out of the Democrat Party. Axios today, big headline, behind the curtain. Dems fear they're blowing it. Well, I think that fear is probably well placed, but again, we don't get ahead of ourselves. And that's about it. We'll take a quick look at
But I want you to think about this because I watched like you did yesterday and something hit me pretty hard. Only 90 days ago, Pelosi went to Biden and said, you need to step aside, and convinced him to do so. He made the decision, and he did actually ask her, and we've now learned this, is she the right person to drive this home? He questioned that. He could have said, we need to run a process in order for me to make
the faces on the other people on the panel as Kevin's talking. I mean, they just look at Abby Phillips. She's got to try. What? She's got to try to jump in, like right away. Like she just wants to jump in and stop him already. Don't make any points, Kevin.
Questioned that. He could have said, we need to run a process in order for me to make this move. But they decided not to. I don't know who they is. Was it Obama? Was it Pelosi? I don't care who it was. In stock picking, just listen to this analogy. And you may agree, you may not. 88% of managers, this is the world I live in, cannot beat the S&P year in, year out. So you give them $1,000, the S&P beats them. They can't pick stocks. This is the second time the Democratic Party has circumvented democracy and chose.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Hillary
We've gone
Clinton
through this before.
was chosen, and she had Bruce Springsteen too. And what happened to her? And now we've chosen.
Kevin, Hillary Clinton won a primary. Okay, she won a primary. You may not.
Nobody
like
could
that
compete
how
with
the
her, even
primary-
Bernie Sanders.
She won a primary.
Okay.
First of all, that's the first
So
thing.
did Kamala
The second
Harris
thing,
win a
talked-
primary?
Listen, we've talked about this before.
What's wrong about talking
How-
about it tonight after what you just saw?
I'm
Do you think that's really
I'm
what
talking
matters
to you
to
about it
voters?
right now.
Your
How
whole shtick is-
many Democrats wish?
Your
Hold on.
whole shtick has
Hang
been,
on a second.
let's talk about what matters to voters. Do you really think voters care about the internecine primary
If-
process?
if you're a
of the Democratic
Democrat,
Party?
Oh, listen, see, you hear that right there? You hear that? Oh, this is the party worried about democracy. This is the party worried about democracy. Oh, do you think the voters really care if they have a say? Oh, do you think the voters really care if they have any representation here? Listen, I mean, I didn't pick up on this before.
She won a primary. You may not.
Nobody
like
could
that
compete
how
with
the
her, even
primary-
Bernie Sanders.
She won a primary.
Okay.
First of all, that's the first
So
thing.
did Kamala
The second
Harris
thing, we've
win a
talked-
primary?
Listen, we've talked about this before.
What's wrong
How
about talking about
hard-
it tonight after what you just saw?
I'm
Do you think that's really
I'm
what
talking
matters
to
to
you about it
voters?
right now.
Your
How
whole shtick is-
many Democrats wish?
Your
Hold on.
whole shtick has
Hang
been,
on a second.
let's talk about what matters to voters. Do you really think voters care about the internecine primary
The-
process?
If
of
you're a
the Democratic
Democrat,
Party?
you sure as
Kevin,
hell care today.
I know that you are from Canada, but the primary process.
That's why I'm
the primary
perfect for this.
process in this
I have no
country
skin in the game
is
other
not
than
in
to
the
get a great
Constitution.
president.
It's not in the Constitution. The political parties can choose however they want to choose their nominee.
Right.
And as long as they
Oh, the party are worried about democracy. You hear? You hear? Oh, you hear?
meet the legal deadlines in the states where they are on the ballot, they can do it however they
Yeah,
want.
but I
They
just
can
want to be
decide
transparent.
December
Yes, I was
they
born
can
in
decide
Canada, but
December 2023
just-
to just handpick
Yeah.
somebody.
Just to
They
be
don't even have to have a
transparent.
primary.
Kevin, stop.
I was born in
It's just
Canada.
not a
It's
thing.
a Democratic Party
It's not a
process,
thing.
not a Democratic.
No, but my kids were born and raised in Boston. All my investments in the United States. I want the president, whoever it is, to be
You're
a winner.
describing something as undemocratic that has absolutely nothing to do with the democratic
And this is
process.
why
She anointed her.
But I do want.
Unbelievable, these people. Just unbelievable. But they'll tell you that they're worried about democracy. Oh, how about your 18 million voters that voted for Biden? Screw them. We don't care what they think. Boy, this clip's getting a lot of play this morning. We watched that one already. All right. I I think that's about it. Yeah, total meltdown. Oh, we should play one more. I didn't play that. Let me. I think I posted it. This is the melt. Oh yeah. Okay, come on. Let's end on this. We'll end on this. This is worth ending on. Anybody guess what it's going to be? Anybody guess what we're going to end on? If we're talking about clips of melting down, let's end on a good one. One more. Anybody got a guess? Who's the biggest meltdown you've seen this week? Let's throw some names in the chat before I play it. We'll see if anybody gets it right. There it is already. Benjamin Winner on X. Mika. Come on, Mika. Tell us. Here we go. This is a full screener.
His cozying up to dictators, his obsession with Hitler that has now come out, what he has said about our veterans, and what he wants to do with the military against his political adversaries. It's all huge news. This is the future that we're looking at in the next Trump term, if there is one. But this is what voters know right now, that he is killing us. I'm talking about us women. He's killing us. He is putting us at risk. He is making us afraid to have babies. He is putting our reproductive health at risk, and some women have died already because of this. So we can see right now what's coming. These headlines, and very good reporting, by the way, that shouldn't be questioned by idiots about what Trump has said about Hitler. That's incredibly important to know. But I do understand that people who are busy and that are people who are just tapping in may not be able to comprehend, because we've been free. We've been comfortable. We cannot comprehend that. And I understand that. I validate that it is hard to go from here to there. It is where we're going. I hope we don't find out the hard way. But what's happening with women right now is real, and it is playing out across America.
I can't. I don't know. Can we just go through that? Can we just go through that list one more time? Let's just go through the list of what Trump's got. Man, he has got magical powers, man. He has powers that no one ever knew was possible for one person.
He is killing us.
He's killing us. He's killing them. Literally, she's saying he's killing people.
I'm talking about us women. He's killing us.
He's killing us. He's killing us.
He is putting us at risk.
He's putting them at risk. Well, if he's killed them, then I don't think there's much risk left to be put into if you're dead.
He is making us afraid to have babies.
Oh, he's making them afraid to have babies. And how exactly is he doing that? How is he making you afraid to have babies? Isn't your whole position is that you're more interested in aborting the babies than having the babies? How is he making you afraid to have the babies? Isn't she always just more worried about genitalia of who's got what and who's got this? And make sure we can have abortion up on demand till the day of birth? Now she's worried about having the babies? Really? Oh, that's news. So he's killing them, but before he's killing them, he's putting them at risk. But before he's putting them at risk, he's making them scared to actually have babies. I guess Mika's now on the like get pregnant and have babies. Really? Okay, that's news.
Have babies.
Oh.
He is putting our reproductive health at risk.
He's putting your reproductive health at risk, but he's also preventing you from having babies. Think about how stupid one person can be, this woman.
And some women have died already.
And some women have died. Well, you said he's killed you, so I guess that would be right. This has got to be the most incoherent rant of stupidity that has ever been broadcast on TV. It has to be. I don't know of another one that I've ever heard that she says one thing, the next thing goes totally against the first thing. She's trying to make it all sound terrible. He's killed you, then he puts you at risk even though he's already killed you. Then he's preventing you from having babies, but then he's putting your reproductive rights so you can't have an abortion, but then you want to have the babies, but then no, your reproductive rights are it's cool. And then some women have already died. Well, yeah, she started by saying they've died, but then they were at risk. And then what was left from this moron?
Because of this. So we can see right now what's coming.
We can see right now what's coming.
These headlines, and very good reporting, by the way, that
oh, yeah, it's great reporting.
shouldn't be.
It's great reporting when you write a report and you have no sources. That's excellent reporting. Yes, that's the way to do it. That's the way we do it. Hey, where'd you hear this from? Well, I can't tell you because, well, why can't you tell us? Well, they spoke on the condition of anonymity. Oh, okay.
Questioned by idiots about what Trump has said about Hitler.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Hitler. You know Trump. Trump and Hitler tied to the hip. Hey, doesn't he have a Jewish son-in-law? Don't worry about that. Doesn't he have a daughter that's Jewish? Don't worry about that. Doesn't he have grandkids that are Jewish? Don't worry about that. Isn't he the most pro-Israel president ever for 4 years? Didn't he move the, don't worry, he loves Hitler. Oh, really? Let's go to Israel and ask the Jews if we think he loves Hitler. I would suspect their answer will not be the same as Mika's.
That's incredibly important to know.
Yes, incredibly. It's incredibly important to know. It's incredibly important to know.
But I do understand that.
Look at the four. I know they'll never say it, but I swear to God, even Barnacle, that moron he's turned into, he used to be so good. These four are looking at her and thinking, good God, can we please get off the wide shot and just get back to her? Take us off so we're not associated with this absolute lunatic spewing this absolute utter nonsense. God. Let's go find the video of Trump in studio with her. Oh, you're so great.
People who are busy and that are people who are just tapping in may not.
Who's just tapping in? What the hell is she talking about again?
Not be able to comprehend because we've been free. We've been comfortable.
Oh, we've been free.
We cannot comprehend that. And I understand that. I validate that it is hard to go from here to there.
What the hell is she talking about? Here to where? What is she talking about?
It is where we're going.
Where are we
I hope
going?
we don't find out the hard way. But what's happening with women right now is real, and it is playing out across America.
There's no woman who watches this that has any idea what in the blue hell she's talking about. Nobody knows what the hell she's talking about. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Get these people off teleprompters, and I mean, they're just no idea. No idea what the hell she's talking about. That is one of the funniest rants I've ever heard. That is award-winningly stupid. Award-winning stupid. That's what she is. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you tonight at some point. Trump's slated to start at 7:30. I don't know where he's coming from before that, if he'll be on time or not. Suspect somewhere in that 7:30, 8 o'clock range he'll start speaking. So most likely you won't even see us until he's done, which probably is going to be close to 10. It'll be a quick wrap up, and then we'll be gone. So maybe I'll I don't know how we would do that. I was thinking maybe we could do like a Twitter Spaces or something from 8 to 10 while we're sitting around doing nothing, but I don't know if that would work. I don't know. Let me think about it. If we do, I'll announce it on X. If we're going to do something while we're sitting around while Trump's talking, maybe we can do a Twitter Spaces and we can jump on X. Thanks, Steve, on Facebook. Thank you very much. Rob, thanks. Amen to that. Broke Spoke, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. D, can you flip the streams on while Trump is in so we can hit the socials chat? We try. Like last night, it got cut off because the system is set up. We can try. I know it sounds like it should be easy, but unfortunately, it's really not with the way the studio's set up. Like last night, the thing cut off right in the middle of Trump's speech because we forgot it. It was, it's programmed obviously for our normal show. So we'll try. If the timing works out, we'll say yes. Just do a Saturday show. It would be about the only chance we have to do a full show, but everybody's busy. Can't do that. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. And we'll see you at some point tonight. Maybe we can do something during the 8 to 10 hour. If you want to watch President Trump, you can, obviously. If you want to talk to us, maybe we'll do maybe we'll try to do a Twitter Spaces during the show since we'll all be there. We can all jump on our phones and do a Twitter Space, and then you can come on there. That might be pretty cool. Maybe we'll think about that. Yeah. All right, we'll see. I'll announce it on all our social media if we're going to do it. Maybe we'll do an X Twitter Spaces tonight at 8 o'clock, and we can talk there. So, all right, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you at some point tonight.